Hey guys, it's Jess and welcome back to my channel, A Card Day's Work. I'm excited to share a new video with you today using some Simon Hurley Create products. I've created a clean and simple winter card for my very last video of 2020. I'm going to be doing some simple ink blending for this card. I chose a few shades of blue from Simon's collection of dye ink pads. The colors I'm using today are Clear Skies, Remember Me, and Midnight Snack. To get started, I attached my stencil to my cardstock. This is Simon's Stark White cardstock, which is really great for card bases, but also for layering pieces as well, and it blends really smoothly. So I attached my stencil to my cardstock with some washi tape. If you have something like the Make Art Station, you can also use this to hold your stencil in place, but I wanted to create a card without making a huge mess, so I'm using as few supplies today as possible. I decided I wanted to make a pretty winter themed card today, so I grabbed one of my all-time favorite stencils from Simon's collection. This one is called Frostbite, and I love how it's not the traditional rectangular shape that stencils generally are. Having the edges open like this really allows you to get creative with your designs and make the most out of your stencil. I'm always a fan of getting more out of your supplies, and I feel like this really does the trick. For my ink blending, I have started with the lightest color at the bottom, which was Clear Skies, and worked my way towards the darkest shade at the top, which is Midnight Snack. So in between, I'm using Remember Me, and as I'm doing my ink blending, I'm overlapping the first color of ink into the area where I want that next color of ink to kind of mix in and blend. This, I feel, gives me a really good effect when I'm doing my ink blending, and it gives a nice smooth transition from one color to another. If you haven't tried this, I strongly recommend doing it rather than stopping your ink blending and starting a new color like right above that. It kind of gives a harsh line, whereas if you kind of overlap the colors just a little bit, it really does a lot to give you a smooth result. So there is our finished result. I am so pleased with how this turned out. I think the stencil and the colors are just so striking. That white with the dark, nice blue shades there. I don't know, there's just something about it that's really magical. So to get the most out of this as well, you guys know that I don't like to waste supplies. So I'm using the ink that I blended onto the stencil, spritzing it with a little bit of water, and then laying another sheet of cardstock on top of that. Now this gives me a very muted, light watercolor sort of effect, but now I have an extra background that I can use on a future card that I didn't have to do anything extra for. I absolutely love doing this just because it helps me get the most out of my supplies. I'm not wasting my ink that I put onto my stencil, and I'm getting an extra background, which I can then again use later. I have a drawer where I store my backgrounds that I've created, and then when I need a quick card, I can just pull those out and I'm ready to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment down at the bottom here. I actually used a cute little sentiment from Snazzy Snowmen. This one says, "You melt my heart." And I wanted to keep it super simple, so I just used my Misty, stamped it in black ink in the lighter shade at the bottom, and then attached this to a white card base. Again, this is Simon's Stark White cardstock, and I have attached that there on the edge. Now I mismeasured a little bit for my card base, so it's a little bit thin, but I took my paper trimmer and just trimmed off the edge. So it's not quite 4¼ by 5½. It's a little slimmer than that, but I think it worked out perfect in the end. I hope that you guys love today's card. I kept it super, super simple, and I hope that you guys appreciate the simple cards as much as the intricate ones, just like I do. I feel like there's not enough love for the simple cards sometimes, so I do want to put a little more focus on that going forward. Thank you all for sticking with me this year, and I can't wait to see what 2021 brings us. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video really soon.